Hello friends, this is Dr. Vijay Kumar. I am welcoming you all in my lecture on forces changing gene and genotypic frequencies. In the last lecture, we discussed Hardy-Weinberg law. Under Hardy-Weinberg law, we learned that in a large random mating population, gene and genotypic frequencies of population remain constant in the absence of evolutionary forces. That means for changing gene and genotypic frequencies of a population, we must need certain evolutionary forces. In this lecture, we will discuss what are those evolutionary forces required for changing gene and genotypic frequencies. Before that, I will request you all to see description of this video for other related videos so that for better understanding. There are two types of forces. One is systematic forces and another is dispersive forces. Under systematic forces, we can predict amount of change and direction of change. Amount of change means how much change in value will come, we can predict. And direction of change means in which direction, whether the gene and genotypic frequency will increase or decrease, we can predict. So under systematic force, we can predict both amount and direction. But under dispersive force, we can predict amount but not direction. Direction is random. Change may be in any direction. Frequency may increase or decrease. The examples of systematic forces are selection, migration, and mutation. The example of dispersive force is random genetic drift. Now I will discuss all these forces one by one. First come to the selection. Selection is the process of differential survival and reproduction of individual to the next generation. First, it is important to understand what is differential survival and reproduction. Differential survival means in a particular environment, every individual is not equally fit in that environment. If an animal is not fit in a particular environment, then in such case individual will not reproduce properly. That individual will not reproduce to its full potential, so lesser offspring will come from those type of individuals. So under selection has certain objective. We after doing selection, any breeder want to increase the performance of the farm, performance of the herd. After next generation, they want some superior animals. So breeders are selecting certain individuals, and breeder are selecting those individuals which have better performance, and those better performance is coming due to certain types of alleles or genes. In this way, they are selecting particular gene or alleles. So after few generations, there must be cumulation or aggregation of certain types of gene. In this way, selection changes the gene and genotypic frequency in the population. Selection is of two types. First is natural selection, and in natural selection, environment play a vital role. Animals which are better fit in a particular environment, they are producing more and more individuals. So under natural selection, environment has very vital roles. Second type of selection is artificial selection, which is man-made, and here breeder has a choice. They want to select a particular animals for increasing the performance of the herd. So here in this type of selection there is certain purpose. In natural selection there is no any purpose. The animal which is fit in a particular environment they are selected, but this is not the case. The breeder has certain purpose, the breeder has certain objective. Animals which have better performance, better character, the breeder will select those animal, and the number of those that type of animal will increase in the future. This is artificial selection. These are major differences between artificial selection and natural selection. Natural selection is caused due to force of nature, and artificial selection here it is man-made, or breeder are the main force which cause artificial selection. Here in natural selection, survival of the fittest is the main force. Here in artificial force there are certain standard fixed by breeder. Animals which are above those standards they are selected. Natural selection process is very slow. Artificial selection is relatively faster. Natural selection can occur at any stage in the life. On the other hand, artificial selection can occur when we know the potential of the animal. When we know this animal is better, then only we can do artificial selection. Example of natural selection is origin of certain species. Example of artificial selection is development of certain new varieties or breeds. These are some main difference between natural selection and artificial selection. Now selection at the level of phenotype. There are three types of selection on the level of phenotype. The first is directional selection. In directional selection, we are selecting individuals from one extreme. We can understand this type of selection by one example. Suppose there is one herd of cattle, and some cow is producing very low milk, some cow are producing high milk, and some are of intermediate level. So suppose the herd is of 100 animal in the herd, and 10 are producing only 2-3 liter in a day, and 10 is producing around 10 to 12 liter of milk, and around 60-70 animals are producing 5-6 liter of milk. So there are three category. One is poor milk producer, one is intermediate milk producer, and rest is very high milk producer. Generally, extremes animal with extreme production is low, and animals with intermediate average production level is large in number. So if we select individuals from one extreme, either high producing animal or low producing animal, that type of selection is known as directional selection. It is, I am again repeating, only one extreme is chosen, either higher level animal or lower level animal. Generally in milk production, in growth, we are selecting the higher producing animal. So this is one example of directional selection, in which we are selecting animals which are very high in production. Second type of selection is disruptive selection. Under disruptive selection, we are selecting individuals from both extreme, high producing animal and low producing animal. We are selecting both type of animal at same time, and generally this type of selection is used to exploit heterosis. in heterosis, when heterozygotes are formed, then we are getting more production. For getting heterozygotes, we choose the very lower animals with low production, very low production, and animals with very high production. The assumption is that very low producing animal will be homozygotic recessive type of animal, and very high producing animal will be of homozygote dominant type of animal. So in this way, when both different animals are homozygote, then we will get heterozygotic animal from the cross, and in this way we will increase our production level. So for taking advantage of heterosis, we are generally using disruptive selection. Next type of selection is stabilizing selection. In stabilizing selection, we are generally selecting animal with intermediate value. Generally, nature is doing this type of selection. Genetic diversity decreases in this type of selection. Population mean stabilizes. In the next generation, the performance of the animals come to the population mean, diversity decreases because extreme type of individuals are removed from the population, because we are selecting only intermediate production level animals. Generally it is done by nature, and nature never favors extreme values. In nature, extreme values are not favored. Nature always want intermediate type of production. So one of the very good example of this type of selection is birth weight in human babies. Generally, birth weight of human babies is around 3.5 kgs, and babies that deviate from this value significantly, the babies those deviate from 3.5 kgs very significantly, either 2 kg baby or 4-5 kg 5 kg baby, they generally do not survive in the population. In this way, only intermediate level of performance is selected in the population. This is another type of selection known as balancing selection. And in balancing selection, heterozygotes have higher fitness, and heterozygote type of individual are selected over homozygotes, because heterozygotes performance is better than both the homozygotes. This type of selection is known as balancing selection. Now after selection, we come to the migration. Migration means transfer of animals from one herd to another. Animals are going from one place to another place. This is known as migration, and this is done due to purchase or under exchange trade system. Generally, people are exchanging their animals, and due to new techniques, due to AI, artificial insemination techniques, this migration process is speeded up. Under this type of techniques, we don't need to transfer the live animal, only sperm is it is very easy to transfer the semen. So migration is very easy, and due to migration, if a certain type of individual is coming from one population, then certainly when they will mix with another population, then the frequency of genotypic frequency and gene frequency will certainly change, because the animal who are going from one place, their genetic makeup is different, and when they will mix to another population, then they will change the genetic structure of the new population. Now mutation. First, I want to declare that mutation, here I will discuss mutation very briefly. In animal genetic portion, there is a full chapter on mutation. There I will discuss it in a thorough manner. Here only brief introduction of mutation. Mutation refers to the sudden and permanent alteration in gene giving rise to new allelic state of that gene. So, after mutation, any dominant gene may modified to recessive gene. In this way, when dominant gene will change to recessive gene, then gene frequency will certainly change because the nature of gene is changing. The type of gene is changing, so gene frequency will change. Now, genetic drift and random drift. This is a phenomena which is generally found in a small population. In a small population, sometime the gene frequency and genotypic frequency deviate abruptly, very fastly and very abruptly. The gene and genotypic frequency changed, and it is due to chance. This is known as genetic drift or random drift. Now, we need to understand it in a better manner. Actually, what happens? Suppose there are two populations. One is large population and another is a small population. Large population of 1,000 animals and a small population of only 100 animals. Out of 1,000 individual, suppose 10 animals changed. Out of 1,000 animals, suppose 10 animals die because of any reason. 10 animals disappear or die of a certain type. Then because population size is large, so there will be no any abrupt effect on the gene or genotypic frequency. But suppose 10 animals from 100, out of 100 animals, 10 animals disappear of a certain type. Then in this case, under this case, the gene frequency and genotypic frequency will certainly change because the population size is small. So this type of incidence will definitely change the gene and genotypic frequency. This is known as random genetic drift, and this type of change is random. The gene frequency may change in any direction. It may increase or it may decrease. So it is sometimes it is known as random genetic drift, and this is mainly found in small population because in a small population any change has very vital and crucial role. There are two effects which is associated with genetic drift. First is founder effect. We can understand founder effect with an example. Suppose there is a population which is founded by very small number of individuals, but when the full-fledged population will emerge, then in that case the gene frequency, the genetic structure of the full-fledged population is entirely different from the initial population, the founder population. This is known as founder effect, and it is happening due to a small number of individual in the founder. The population size was small, so when full-fledged population came from that small number of individual, in that case the genetic structure of the population, of the large population, was entirely different from the initial population. This is known as founder effect. And another effect is bottleneck effect. Suppose there is a full-fledged population, and due to certain disaster, for example due to some flood or earthquake, the population size went down to very low level, and again after few years, after few generations, the population achieve their earlier number, then in that case the genetic structure of the population in after disaster is entirely different from the initial population. The suppose initial population have a certain genetic makeup, then after disaster when population size went down and again few individual grown up and it become a full-fledged population. After this disaster when full-fledged population appears, when we compare now, if we will compare the genetic structure of the population before disaster and genetic structure of the population after disaster, it will be entirely different. And why this is happening? This is happening because after disaster population size was very small and new population emerged from very small number of individuals. So the genetic makeup of the population after disaster is entirely changed. These are few books authored by me. You can take help of these books. Every explanation is available in this book. So thanks for watching this video, and kindly give some comments, some suggestion for improving the video. And if you want a lecture on a certain topic, then also you can write me. Thanks for watching.